Hello to all of you wonderful viewers of the Not Too Deep podcast. Just want to give you a quick heads up about this episode and next week's episode. Unfortunately, we had a hard drive failure, which happens to the best of us. So in this episode, the footage from my camera angle didn't make it. So unfortunately, you're going to be subjected to the beautiful faces of Kimmy Gatewood and Rebekka Johnson the whole time. But we still wanted to post the video because I love these two ladies, and it was a really, really wonderful episode.
Not too deep.
This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by Squarespace. Turn your great idea into a reality with Squarespace. They make it easier than ever to launch your passion project, whether you're showcasing your work or selling products of any kind. And with beautiful templates and the ability to customize just about anything, you can easily make a beautiful website all on your own. But if you do get stuck, Squarespace's 24/7 award-winning customer support is there to help. Head to squarespace.com/grace for a free trial. And when you are ready to launch, use the offer code GRACE to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Not too deep. Not too deep. With Grace Helbig.
Welcome to another episode of Not Too Deep with me, your host, Grace Helbig. This is a very exciting episode. I say that every time, but this one truly is, guys. Hear me out. We have Kimmy Gatewood and Rebekka Johnson. If you don't know them, they're the tag team on Glow, the Beatdown Biddies, and the Toxic Twins. And this is insane because we go back literally like 10 years. They were both individually improv teachers of mine in my past in New York City at the People's Improv Theater. So there's a long history here, and I'm so inspired and excited to hear everything that they've been up to with the franchise that is empowering women across the world, Glow, and all of the in-betweens that have been going on. They're also moms. They can do everything. So get ready for this very fun, very sweet, very dumb, in a good way episode of Not Too Deep with Kimmy Gatewood and Rebekka Johnson. I'm so glad that you guys are here. Thank you for making time. This is so fun. I have a billion questions because Glow is fantastic, and you must be so proud of it and so excited to be part of like what feels like the closest thing I can relate to is like a sorority. I didn't grow up with Greek life at all when I went to college.
But neither did we.
I did the marching band sorority for 3 months and then I quit. So I was like, it's too much of a commitment.
Really? Wait, what did you play?
Trombone.
Okay.
She still plays.
Still play.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no musical talent, so envious on every level.
There's not a podcast
only
we
way.
do where we don't regret that she didn't bring her drum.
Oh, that's fair. Fully fair. I don't think I've ever heard the origin story of how you two met each other for the first time. And I'm sure you've told this a billion times.
Oh, yeah.
But I would
that's
love to hear it.
So we really met back in the day at UCB, but when we became friends was when we were both teaching at the Pit,
Right.
And we were the only gals teaching, you know. Somehow we busted through that plexiglass ceiling in the improv world.
Couldn't afford glass.
Yeah.
They definitely could not afford glass.
No,
it was
yeah.
definitely like some kind of asbestos
We
laden
followed the
wall.
finger right
Found in
through
a
that.
dumpster.
Yeah. Because we were the only two females in the faculty show, people were constantly like, "You guys should do shows together.
Let's screw off.
Hang out.
You can't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you guys would get along outside."
Oh, I know another girl.
But we were like at first being like, "No, we'll perform with the guys, just like everyone else."
Well, also, like, you're afraid you're going to lose your spot as, like, that girl. You know?
Right.
But then Kimmy made a comedy pinup calendar, and I saw it and thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my whole life, and was like, "Okay, yes, please, let's do a show together."
Yeah.
And then we brought along Sarah Lowe, who we also were, talking to as a friend.
Rebekka-
She's another gal, so
Yeah.
was
Another
another person we
woman.
got along with.
Well, Rebekka and Sarah were going to do a show separately, like 2-person show. And then Rebekka's like, let's do a show together. And she goes, no, I don't have time for that. Why don't all three of us do a show?
Yeah.
We talked on the phone. Sarah was doing Urinetown.
Yeah.
Now we're getting to the Apple Sisters, not even me and Rebekka.
No, but that is my next question.
Yeah, and
But-
then we started our comedy group, the Apple Sisters.
Yeah.
which
What
is
year was that? Did you guys
2007.
Well, 2006 is when we talked about it. And our
Yeah.
first show, Alex Zalbin signed us up for February
Oh.
14th, 2007.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what was like the initial idea of it? Like, how did you guys pitch it to each other?
Well, we were talking about, I was saying that I thought we should host a variety show. And Kimmy brought up and Sarah was talking about like musicals. And it's like, we all love musicals and singing and dancing. And then Kimmy brought up the 1940s.
Because you could sing unironically, like just burst out into song for no reason.
Oh, that makes sense. I thought you would just like out of nowhere, like I would like to talk about the 1940s again right now. Please.
I was also, mildly obsessed with Judy Garland. There's also this musical 1940s Radio Hour, which is a really funny musical. Where you're doing a live radio show and like I really enjoyed that. And I think slapstick comedy, like you can physical comedy, like it's all like okay, and it doesn't seem hacky or weird. It's like if you encapsulate the 1940s, you can not only comment on modern society, you can comment on like societal norms, you know?
And we could sing in 3-part harmony and wear like red lipstick.
Yeah. I look so cute.
Yeah, you didn't have to show up in like improv clothes. You could show up and like actually care about like looking cute on stage. And so you guys are still doing that, right?
Yeah, we have a show in a week. We're doing shows. We have shows in Vegas, shows in LA.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask because it's, a period piece kind of comedy show. How does it play in Vegas? Like, how does it do?
It's great.
They love it.
It actually,
Really?
I feel the audience is even more responsive than in New York or LA.
Really?
Yeah, because it's it's a period piece, but it's so much through the 2018 lens.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're like sticking to this exact historical version of the 40s. It's we're in
not.
some
Just
ways a
kidding.
parody of.
Oh my God.
No, we are. I rewrote encyclopedias and gave them to Kimmy, and so she thinks it's historically accurate.
Okay, good.
But it's all my writing. It was a lot of work, and like
I was wondering why it looked like a ransom note. Every page was like a ransom note. I just thought they couldn't afford typewriters
it
or
was
something.
even more work that I was cutting out pages of magazines to like for the letter. I mean, this is why did I do it? I always wonder why I did it. But yeah, we started by thinking we were just going to do like a new monthly show, and then it became this thing that we've done since 2007.
Yeah, basically,
And we love it.
We did the Dress for Laughs Comedy Festival in
Yeah.
2008, which changed our lives
yeah,
we
I
went
read
out there.
that.
Yeah, we went out there and we had no representation, which we didn't know at the time that that was the best way you could possibly go out because literally agents were following us around and no one wanted
Steak
to have
dinners.
anything to do
Steak
with
dinners.
it. Yeah,
That seems like a cliche.
It really did. Steak dinners, and also remember when we got back to New York, the roof of like a hotel Gansevoort.
Gansevoort,
We
yeah.
were like, these are $20 drinks. This manager is buying us $20
And this
drinks.
is because you guys killed it just for
Yeah,
laughs. So
and
all
we
of
were
a
the
sudden
only
everyone was
women
like,
in the like sketch comedy portion,
Gotcha.
which at the time they could get away with, even though it's only 10 years ago. But now I don't think you could have that level of gender disparity.
Yeah, totally. I know. But that was insane because like literally the year before I was like eating eggs for three meals a day.
Yeah, she'd be like, "What's the cheapest thing to eat?" Eggs, and I'd be like, "Okay, yogurt is $1, a banana is 25 cents." That's when we were like teaching you at the pit.
I know. Those were, what fun days. I know. I was like literally eating beans out of a can being like, it's fiber, I guess. But that's so bonkers. Have you ever had, because I think it must be super fun to be able to have this lens on a show where you get to comment on like the modern things happening without getting such blowback of being like, you're female comedians talking about politics.
Right.
So have you ever had like a bizarre like crowd moment or someone come up to you after a show or say something that's like offended by something you've done? Or have you had the opposite of someone that was like so over the top, like that was incredible, like almost to a weird extent?
The only time I've had, I feel like someone being offended is, the 1940s, we're dealing with like different people we were at war with. So
Yeah.
then it's like the Apple sisters are making jokes. And then like there was like specifically like a Japanese joke. And then my friend brought her family and she's of Asian descent and they were offended. And it was like
Gotcha.
it was hard. It was like something I had to look at and be like, yes, it is through the 1940s, but also no matter what, we're 3 white women. Mm-hmm. So I think that we've made certain changes even in our show because it's different every time. Like there's scripted stuff, but then there's things that we've made changes as the time has gone on. And certain topics were much easier to tackle when Obama was president because life seemed like
remember
more
those
positive.
days.
Well, we started when Bush was president.
Yeah, we started
and
then.
that was a strange time because like our first joke was like, "There's a war going on. It's food is being rationed," and like there was an actual war going on, so we could talk very presently about the war,
Right.
Even like about like Candy's character is obviously in the closet lesbian. We were able to talk about gay like culture and
Prop
like when
8.
Prop
Oh,
8
yeah.
and like when gay marriage was finally passed. Like all of those things, we could talk about it in a different way rather than
Gay
just
marriage, that's as far-fetched as a woman running for president.
1943.
But that,
Gay, don't you mean happy? Doesn't every marriage happy?
But we would be like, oh, the woman running for president. Like we thought, it's kind of crazy that we changed it at a certain point. Like that's as far-fetched as a woman becoming president. And it's like, oh, that's so sad.
so
that
sad.
10 years later, that
Yeah.
joke still plays. Like, God damn
I know, and
yeah.
it plays in such a different way that you could have ever
Now.
expected.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. But at least you get to keep doing it. And I feel like that kind of stuff is ultimately very good, especially in the world in which we live in now, which I think is very cool because I like internet stalked you guys a bunch to like try and keep up with everything that's happening in your worlds right now. And you guys are so wonderfully prolific on like you use your social media to talk about serious things, even though you're obviously comedians and, funny women in general. How do you balance like being comedic and then using or wanting to talk about certain things online?
Well, I feel like we've had this rare opportunity where we're on a pretty high profile show and you it just like kind of levels you because you want to make sure that you're responsible with your voice. And also becoming a mother, honestly, I'm like, what would I want my child to know about me? Like what kind of person I am. And so in fact, when Glow came along, I threw away my old social media and just started a new one.
Really?
Just started new.
Without our kids' pictures. We both did that.
Because
So
I got
that-
a couple of creeps commenting on my babe's picture, and I was like, you know what? I need to make sure that like there's like brand Kimmy Gatewood,
Yep.
and then there's personal Kimmy
There's a
Gatewood,
separation,
And I know that that's like I don't have that many followers, but like,
But no, that's still like safety reasons, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
it only takes one person to make things weird.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and especially that you have kids, like I can't fully relate to that, but I understand that that's probably a very sensitive thing that's new. That you're like, oh, I didn't even realize that this kind of world existed online.
Right. Yeah. You don't want
Totally.
anything political you say to then suddenly somehow the comment goes on your kid's picture. Like that's just like So we both kind of like made a private version just where our kids' pictures get dumped and then our public, personas are still us. It's just without the kid stuff. And
Yeah.
then for me, I think all the movements that have happened in Hollywood since I've been on Glow, but like even before Glow with the Yes All Women and all that stuff. And I had felt strange about just saying my real experiences. So I would sort of like skate around them. And there's always
Right.
that balance of like, how much politics do you put on your social media? How many jokes? And it got to the point where basically this last year, NBC Think asked me to write a piece on
read
feminism or politics.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, here we go.
Yeah.
And I decided to write about like my actual experiences in like the Me Too space.
Yeah.
And it was so freeing. And I was able to still make it like I still had one or two jokes in there. When I first wrote it, it was filled with jokes, and my friends who read it were like, "Just be serious." Like it's
There's
a
no
serious
vulnerability
subject.
in being serious. I
Yeah.
read it. I thought it was really great. I thought
Thanks.
you really did a wonderful job of balancing like the sincerity and the honesty behind it and keeping it true to who you are as a human by wanting to make jokes when it gets uncomfortable or when you're exposing a lot of yourself that you haven't before. So
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Thank you.
But I'm sure it must have been, I read your tweet that was like, I just put something serious out there and now I have to restrain myself from reading comments. That is so true.
Well, and some of the comments are like, not on that thing, but on Twitter were like, oh, George Soros like paid her to write. Like, this is like liberal Hollywood. I was like, really? Me talking about like my horrible experiences in high school are being paid for by like the liberal elite. Like, I'm like, what are you talking about? But obviously that didn't affect me as much as I was more nervous that like people I knew were going to be like, ugh.
Sure.
But now I feel more comfortable. Now I can just kind of touch on it anytime and use and be comedic about it or not. But
it doesn't feel like
makes
you're
me feel
holding it
better.
in. Yeah, you
Yeah.
get liberated in a sense, and you're able to, I think, talk about it in a way that helps others without feeling so like beholden to this like secret or something. That's going
Exactly.
on.
Yeah. And I wrote a short film called Consent, a short comedy about a serious subject. Kimmy directed it. We shot it this summer. And so now we're, submitting to festivals. And so
That's
it's all
awesome.
kind of like coming out of me. And that really was a comedy, but I was able to find a way to talk about this subject that I really care about. Really, we were talking about like, how do we teach our kids about consent? And I have a son, so I was like,
Right.
how do I make sure he understands that like more than no means no, but that you have to get the body language of if someone's not interested, like shut it down.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
We were even talking about like today in the car, like for marketing, like give somebody a card that says consent, and it's like you can use this, you can give someone your consent card if you want, but you could also feel free to take it back at any time.
Yeah.
And I was
that's
like,
great.
what an interesting like physical form, and I think that the film touches upon that too. It's like a metaphor, an allegory for like
Very
talking about
cool.
consent.
yeah,
So.
there's no sex in the film, but it's an allegory. So it's like using music instead of sex. And
Yeah.
I play the kind of offender. And I keep singing to someone who doesn't want me to sing to them. And so it was such a awesome experience. And so I feel like just writing an essay, telling my truth, and then making a film. And Kimmy's been like such a huge part of that. And, and now I feel like I'm finally like just starting to use my voice in a real way.
That's awesome. Art.
Yeah,
Turns out
man.
art heals.
Yeah,
in
you know
so
what?
many
We're
ways.
artists. We are artists. Yeah.
I mean, listen, I have directed my fair share of one-woman shows at the Pit. We've gotten through a lot of shit, you know what I mean? Some shitty characters too, but
No, that's fantastic. Okay, now I want to talk about Glow. Speaking of like
Yeah.
things that are impactful and like female empowerment and all of that, how did this come to you guys, or how did you guys like? I was so excited when I heard that you guys were on it and that you were a tag team together. I was like, this is my like improv teachers that like inspired me in so many ways are now like part of this like amazing product. Like, how did this happen?
it is unbelievable. I think about it sometimes, and it just feels like one of those things where both kind of like nobody wants us in Hollywood anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was like, no one wants me in front of the camera.
I know. And then I was about to like fly to New York to take a job running a podcast network.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I was like fully going into the producer and director realm. Both we were auditioning, still doing Apple Sisters, but we were like, okay,
This
is
the money maker is our brains, not our faces.
But then they're like, we got this audition. It's like, hey, they want you to audition together.
Have you had that before?
Not really, no.
Really?
Never.
Okay.
Never. And Jen Houston, who knew the Apple Sisters from New York and is an amazing casting director, did Orange, if anybody doesn't know. And
Yeah.
she thought of us for this part, and there was a script of Stacy and Dom. It was a dating tape of theirs, and they said basically it was like 2 pages,
Yeah.
which
A
included
dating tape? Like them?
Like them making a dating
like, hi,
tape.
I'm Stacy. I'm Dawn. And you're like,
Yeah.
these are our likes and dislikes.
Yeah.
And then us singing Jellicle Cats at one point.
It's just like perfect
Yeah,
for you guys.
perfect. Yeah, we were
It
like,
was-
what?
I know. We were like, Jellicle Cats? We practice a lot. And then basically the end of the side said something like, whatever you
Improvise.
want, or something like that.
Yeah, whatever legal language they can use.
Yeah.
And so-
Etc. Who knows? You know?
yeah.
yeah, they're like, make it your own. So we worked on it. We were like, we're not going to just trust. As long as we've been doing improv,
Yeah.
we still now know that when it says improv, write your shit at
Yeah,
home.
yeah.
And so
Prepare for
Yeah,
this.
prepare
Yeah.
like in a real way.
Except
And
on a
so-
live stage show.
Oh,
But
yeah,
you're
yeah.
right. And
No, no.
auditions only.
Auditions only. No,
Yeah.
live. If we're saying we're doing improv,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean auditions. And so for the audition, we like came up with a bunch of things and came up with other characters we can do, and then
Just in case, like we had no idea. And then
they were gonna ask for.
she was like, then the last thing that she has to do. So we did a bunch of characters too, but the last thing that she did.
Oh, gosh. That's Jen Houston. She's here. She's okay. We're going to take a quick break while Jack apparently gets his apartment inspected? Yeah, cool. Here's
Let's hope he
hoping.
passes.
Fingers crossed.
Not too deep.
This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by Squarespace.
Our buddies.
Yeah, we love these guys. I can't believe that this is like my longest relationship I've ever had. It's with them supporting us.
That's so funny, yeah.
They make it easier than ever for you to launch your passion project, whether it's starting a new business, showcasing your work, publishing content, selling products, or more. Squarespace is the tool for you.
With beautiful templates created by world-class designers and the ability to customize just about anything with a few clicks, you can easily make a beautiful website yourself.
And they have powerful e-commerce functionality, which lets you sell anything online, and analytics that help you grow your site in real time.
Everything is optimized for mobile right out of the box, and there's nothing to patch or upgrade ever.
You can buy domains super simply, and you'll get any help that you need using Squarespace's 24/7 award-winning customer support.
Squarespace empowers millions of people, from designers to lawyers, artists to gamers, even restaurants and gyms, to turn great ideas into something real. And you can turn your dream into a reality with Squarespace. And guess what, guys?
You did.
I have.
You have turned so many dreams into a reality with Squarespace.
Yeah, I mean, I've made some websites with Squarespace, so I guess that's me turning dreams into reality.
Yeah, this is like a two-way relationship. Like,
It is.
They need us and we need them. So
I know.
thank
Oh
you,
yeah, please
Squarespace.
stick with us because I really need those websites.
And you guys can get yours by going to squarespace.com/grace for a free trial. And when you are ready to launch, use the offer code GRACE to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
That's squarespace.com/grace. Offer code GRACE.
Not too deep.
This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by our good buddies at Everlane.
That's right. Never overpay for quality clothes with Everlane. Everlane only makes premium essentials using the finest materials without traditional markups.
And they tell you their real costs because they want you to know what you're paying for and why.
In fact, they are radically transparent about everything from their materials to the ethical factories that they work with, all of it.
And since Everlane sells directly to you, their prices are 30 to 50% lower than traditional retailers.
And their clothes look better, cost less, and last longer.
And they have the just really, really cool essentials. So they got us to sign up, and we kind of picked a couple items from the men's department, and Grace picked a couple items from the women's department. I got these like really stylish pants.
Ooh.
I also got a pretty cool denim jacket.
I got a couple essentials. I'm a basic girl, and they have all kinds of basic, wonderful pieces of clothing, but that are just, better made all the way around.
Yeah. And they're stylish. Like
Yeah.
they're not like, flashy.
No.
giant logos or anything like that.
No frills, just quality. And right now, you guys can actually go check out our personalized collection, aka all the items that we personally picked from the website at everlane.com/grace, and you'll get free shipping on your first order.
That's everlane.com/grace.
everlane.com/grace. Okay, we're back from that awkward break, but turns out Jack has an apartment that is approved.
Full of rats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
And you got a new guest, the maintenance guy.
The maintenance man turns out is a huge fan. What a guy. Okay, sorry, we interrupted this whole audition process. So they basically, you had to do this dating tape, you had to sing, and then you basically had free range to do whatever you wanted.
Yeah, so we kept it
some
within
bits,
the dating
yeah.
tape. Yeah, we did some bits. And then we got a call back.
Well, wait, but
Oh.
then she said, so are you guys are you guys like physical? We were like, oh, totally. Like we didn't have babies like a year ago or anything. You know what I mean? we're very physical people. We're like ballet, dance, whatever. And then I threw myself against the wall. And then Rebekka did the jump split.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Wait, you did full like RuPaul's Drag Race end of a lip sync battle?
Yeah,
Yeah. 100%.
yeah, a death drop. Yeah.
Full death.
So of course you're getting a call back after that.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't walk for a week, but it was fun.
But then we got a call back and we were like, this is hilarious. What a funny prank they're playing on us.
Yeah, and it was like bring in a tag team character, and they showed us, or they had the link of the original like rap from Glow and something like that. So Kimmy and I were like, oh, one tag team character? No thanks, we'll do 5. And so we came in, and it was like Liz, Carly, Genji, Tara, and Jen Houston. So all the producers, the
Right.
casting, all women,
The dais.
mostly moms too, which was so cool. And we were like, we have 3 to 5 characters for you. If you'd like us to stop after 3,
It's like an SNL.
we can. Otherwise, we will continue. And so after we did 3, then they were like, keep going. And we did. And then they talked to us for like 20 minutes. And
That's awesome.
We
were
just
like-
told our story about like, you know, we drove to Vegas all the time. The two of us, we've started like 3 businesses together. Like,
yeah, talked about our kids and just kind of like over talked each other like how we do now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
a full therapy session
Yeah.
with everyone.
I cried. But it was
but like
kind of crazy.
they were like looking for like real life best friends that also did comedy, and we were like, well, I guess if they want us, like
Yeah.
we've given them literally everything.
we have nothing left to give
There's
you
nothing
guys.
left. Like Rebekka like has a pulled hamstring.
They didn't know that. They didn't know that I had a pulled calf, but I ran around that room. I did that jump sled. I did everything.
Oh my
And then
God.
I'm serious when I said I couldn't walk for a week, but I pretended that I was not injured
Oh my God.
during the audition and the callback. And then like 2 weeks later, we started wrestling. And I also
Well,
tried to pretend I wasn't injured.
wait, so where
then.
were you guys when you got the call that you booked it completely? Were you together or
No,
did they call?
I was at coffee with Molly Prather, and do you know her? She's
Yeah.
we lived together in New York, and
She's a comedian.
Yeah, but we were having coffee, and I did this thing where I was like, I can't, like, I'm just gonna put away my phone and turn it off because I haven't seen you in like 3 years.
Oh,
you know what I
no.
mean? So I did that.
So our manager calls us, and she calls me like over and over again. So like I pick up the phone, and she's like, "I'm trying to get Kimmy, and I can't get Kimmy, but I have to tell you something." And she was like she is really like hyper, like
Yeah.
so she's like, "You got it," and I'm like screaming all over the place. And so I texted Kimmy about 45 times, and I was like, "Where is this bitch?"
So then Molly went to the bathroom finally, and I looked at my phone. I was like, I feel like I need to call up these people.
Something is going on.
I don't
now.
think this would mean we didn't get it.
Yeah.
But I was just like, let me check. But I was like, don't get excited.
Yeah.
And then Molly's just there, and I was like, and then like some dude next door, he goes, "Oh, would you just get glow?"
Wait,
Literally, yeah. He's like, just get glow. He's like, yeah, my girlfriend's like working a screenplay about glow, and they got up and left, and I was like,
oh, fun.
sorry, I guess.
Sorry, but also what a random weird
It's
man to
so
be there.
LA.
Yeah.
That's such an LA thing to happen. Yeah, and then that night she came over and we partied and
Yeah.
had fun. It was exciting. It's just so exciting and so unbelievable. Like had we not gotten it, I would have been like, well, you know, I was right. Stay behind the camera.
But that's
keep
always-
teaching improv.
I feel like that's, and it's so cliche, but that's what they say. That's when things happen is when you least expect them and when you're fully checked out of something or about to be fully checked out of something and like considering alternate like life journeys to go
Yeah.
on. But okay, so when you first started, tell me about like the training because that's what I'm so curious about because you guys are doing stunts. You are really, and the stunt coordinator won an Emmy. Like
Yeah.
that's so nuts.
And she was the first female to win as a stunt coordinator.
That's
which is awesome.
insane.
So
So
exciting.
cool.
And against her husband. Her husband
really?
is the stunt coordinator for Westworld. And she won.
wow.
So in your face, Ptolemy Slocum.
yeah,
It was us versus him. So
that's
Yeah,
so
that was
fun.
Yeah, basically, it was 4 weeks of training
Okay.
with Chavo Guerrero Jr. as our wrestling coach.
Okay.
Who, if you don't know Chavo, he's a wrestling legend.
Okay.
he's like
And
third generation wrestler. His
great
dad,
uncle,
his uncle.
taught the original Glow Girls how to wrestle.
Oh wow!
And this
okay.
was not a planned thing. It was just like somebody on the show was a fan and knew his history, and I think it all just kind of like it's just amazing how it all
Oh
came
yeah,
together.
that's really
We
kismet.
trained with him and Shauna, and then
Helena Barrett,
Yeah, they're like two stunt women, and
who could break down the moves for like wrestlers who are carnies, who are just like just hit yourself as hard as you possibly can, and they're like, okay, we're gonna have to keep these girls like alive for 4 months, so let's just like make this safe.
Yeah.
So they would teach us the moves so that we could hit, slap, fall, bounce, whatever, fly without getting hurt. Because
Right.
in television, obviously you do 20 takes of something sometimes because you have to do every single angle. And if you just do the moves 3 times, you're talking a lot of like I injured
and
both
when
my wrists.
like pro wrestlers, when they're learning how to wrestle, in some ways it's like you take as many bumps as you can the first day, and it doesn't matter if your neck is stiff. Or like one of the girls on the show, Kia, she's a real wrestler, and she said when she first started pro wrestling, she had a sprained ankle, and they were like, well, you're either doing it now or you're not. And she was like, this is my chance. So she, for 3 months was like injured, you know, and so for us, it's not the same. It's like we learned how to do it and we can do it, but they tried to do it really slowly so that we didn't, you know, have to have like insane injuries for the whole 4 months.
Right.
And so we still ended up with some though.
Forward rolls. Like we thought we were going to be like doing push-ups and sit-ups. And
Yeah,
squats. But they were like
boot camp.
forward rolls, and then like you kind of build up to a back bump where you start just like almost like
That's where you
ab
fall
exercises.
on your back, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's the scariest thing to me. But when
It
it's
is
done
scary.
well, it looks amazing.
It's like getting in a minor car accident every time you do it.
really,
Yeah, until you really learn how, and then I think maybe you get calluses on your neck muscles. I don't know.
It's
Your
really
body
all about your
creates
core.
cushions. Yeah.
Wrestling is about your core for sure.
Yeah, and I had no abs going into it, so it was even harder when just you have just like mush to rely on. So I'm doing as much Pilates as I can before we get
Rebekka
into
would
season
just
3 training.
cough every time.
Yeah. Yeah,
what
my
was-
muscles were just from like hangovers from like throwing up.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically the amount of work I did.
What was the most intense thing to learn, or like the most intense scene, at least in season 1?
Well, the most intense moves, I'd say the whole thing in season 1 was like the KKK match.
Okay.
Was the most intense.
Yeah.
Top to bottom. So for acting, for wrestling, because we're
Right.
wrestling with these not only just like masks, they're not like lucha masks, they're like KKK masks.
Yeah.
And
But it's
robes.
also literally it was a bed sheet. Like
Yeah.
they
your
had
peripheral
wasn't even real.
vision must have been like,
Like
non-existent.
not even real
we
vision
were like,
at
can
times.
you put a headband in there or something?
Yeah, because at one point there was this move like a headlock takeover or headlock takedown where Sidel headlocks me and takes me to the ground, and my like mask totally shifted. So luckily we had done it so many times, but you know, we just did it without that. And then
Yeah.
one time she kind of got caught up in my robe, and so she landed right on my chest. And that was not in a take, that was in rehearsal, but I was like, oh, that's painful.
Yeah. That's my body hurting.
Yeah.
That's a body on a
But
body.
then it was fine.
Yeah.
Like afterwards I was like, oh, that stings, and then you're good.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, totally.
It seems intense, but it also seems super fun. Do you guys get to improvise? Do you get to like, do you have to be so beholden to a script, or do you get to like kind of be loose with things?
In the ring, they're pretty good about letting everybody kind of go wild, which
Oh,
is
really?
fun. Yeah,
That's great.
And specifically our characters, they kind of let us improvise. We pitch jokes all the time, like
Oh, that's great.
yeah, because we know each other so well, and like it's hard to write dialogue where people are overlapping talking. So we just kind of take what they wrote and then we'll rewrite it so that, you know, it's like what they want to accomplish. But it's so hard to write that kind of.
Yeah, and make it seem so natural.
You
And,
can't write for the Sklar brothers, you know?
yeah, that's true. That's
like I
very
can't
true.
imagine. Like, you just gotta give them a script and you're like, you do Sklar it up, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, and we did for the Beatdown Biddies. It was actually such an amazing moment to see in episode 3 when we finally get our characters and when we're given the Beatdown Biddies. And at the end, it's like we're doing our promos. And what I saw was like our jokes that Kimmy and I had written, like that's what they put in. And I started just crying because I was like, this is my literal dream come true. I'm playing like a golden girl, like from Mama's Family, saying my own jokes with my best friend. And it's on a TV show. Like someone on TV wants me to say that like I'm like a good five of cereal. When I fight you, I'll make you shit your pants.
You're crying over it.
It's my joke.
That is, I mean, there is a sweetness in that because, yeah, this is like everything you guys have worked for, and it's all coming together at a moment that you've been like, nothing's going to happen
And
anymore.
it only took 20 years.
Yeah, that's,
Stick to it, kids.
you can do anything if you just wait 20 years and get completely disparaged from the industry. I mean, do you have people coming up to you now that you've been on this show that recognize you as your characters at all?
Not that much.
Not too,
We
when we're
look so
together,
different.
when
When
we're
you're together.
people do, and especially because we like to travel in a pack. All the Glow Girls, like
Yeah, no, I've
that's
seen
when
you
it
guys
get-
on social media. I follow Alison Brie, all of it. You
Oh,
guys,
yeah.
that's so empowering. It's so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
Well, when we hang out with Brittany Young, she gets
Yeah.
recognized the most.
Sure.
So people will come up to her and be like, "Oh my God, I love Carmen. Oh, you're all on it." You know.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like a little bit of they're delightfully excited about
it's
it.
fun. Like all the girls came out. We all come and support each other's stuff. So they came out to see like my short film at Holly Shorts, and like
that's
it was
awesome.
so fun because even the waiter was just kind of like, I mean, hi. I just want to say.
We all got to
That's so
see
cool.
like Kate Nash's concert like from the side, and that's so fun to
that's
be like
cool.
seeing this concert and being in this little section with all of us screaming at the top of our lungs. Like it's just fun. It's fun hanging out.
That's
with you.
super fun. Well, that kind of leads into I want to talk to you guys about since you do travel in packs, Hollywood parties. The you guys have been going.
Yeah.
Yeah, those fun shindigs for all of us to go to.
It's like a normal party.
Yeah,
Except Angelina Jolie. You know what I mean?
well, yeah, I want to hear your experiences with them because you guys have been going to a ton of them recently because it's like award season and all of that. And I love that you guys seem to like, kind of stick together in that situation. So how are those events for you guys?
So, when I was a kid and I looked in a magazine, I
Yeah.
would see people at parties and I was like, oh my God, that's Hollywood and that's how people make it. And then when I had the opportunity to go, I was like, I'm going to live my best life that I've ever lived. Let's do it. Let's get fucking dressed up and let's go. I don't care. I'm doing it. I will live my best life. Like
We kind of get whatever, most of the things we get invited to in terms of we're like pumped to go to.
Yeah.
And there's some of the girls that are like, I don't feel like, I don't want to go. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, party? Yes.
we're the okay.
Red carpet? Okay. I will pay for my own hair and makeup. Because I've never looked better than I look right now because it cost $1,000 to look this way.
It's so fun. I mean, we're the only parents in the cast and we will always
Okay.
shut down every bar.
We're the first ones there, last ones to leave.
I know. We love it. It's so fun. I mean, this is like, it's so fun. It really feels like this could be a fleeting moment or like this
Sure.
opportunity. And it's like, even though when I was there, I would be like, oh, look at all those people. I was like, wait, no, I'm part of this now.
I'm the people
I'm the
now.
people.
They let me in.
We went to the Entertainment Weekly party after or before the Emmys, and I just could not comprehend like the pool and like the glowing letters and stuff. And I was just like, look at that show and that show. Oh my God, what's up? This is us. Hey,
Yeah.
Orange is the New Black. Like, it's weird. It's so cool though. It's like you're in a television set, I guess,
Yeah.
but everybody still feels kind of weird and awkward around each other, no matter
Yeah.
what. So the more kind of loud and
We're not
fun you
cynical
are.
yet. We're not cynical
Yeah, we're not cynical yet.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
great.
Maybe we'll reach that by like 60.
Yeah,
No,
60 or 70.
Stay
yeah.
this way.
Like
Stay this
Leslie
way.
Jones is the epitome of just like, I love Hollywood, because she would just come up to everybody and be like, oh my God, can we get a picture?
Well, what's your biggest like fangirl moment at one of those events if you've had one?
Oh boy. God.
Well, this is an embarrassing one.
Yeah, I would love to hear it.
At that Entertainment Weekly party, all these huge celebrities. And normally the huge celebrities, I see them, I'm like, Sarah Paulson, clocked. Angelina Jolie, clocked. RuPaul, there we go.
Yeah.
But I saw Wells and Sarah Hyland.
Oh,
I saw
no.
Kendall and Grocery Store Joe. I went right up to Kendall and Grocery Store Joe, and I said, "Excuse me, I just want you to know I'm on Glow. So I love you. I love you from The Bachelor, and I'm so happy that you guys are here. And can I take a picture with you?" And Joe's like, "Yeah, vote for me on Dancing with the Stars." took a selfie, and then I was like, "All right."
He's politicking the whole time.
Yeah. And I posted it on my mom's group, and they were so pumped.
I would not have had the courage to go up and ask. I constantly check in on their Instagrams to see if they're really still together.
Oh, I follow
'cause
both of them. Yeah,
I feel like they're just two ships passing in the night, but I guess opposites
they
attract.
seemed very in love.
That's good. Good for
In
them.
person.
Good for them. I'm happy for them that they found each other. Those
Well,
are the
you had
people.
a good Jonathan Van Ness experience.
that's what I
where
wanted to
he
ask
made
you about.
a catwalk and put it on his Instagram.
I wanted to ask you about that. I saw that. I was like, oh, you had a JVN encounter? Tell me everything.
Oh my God. So I did Game of Thrones
Yes.
last season, which I mean, this is right before he had just filmed Queer Eye, but hadn't come out yet.
Got
So
it.
he was telling me, he's like, don't tell anybody, but like they put me in every scene because I'm funny.
It's good to know where you're at.
yeah.
But he was
humility's there.
He is I don't know, pure light and joy and
So
so
nice
funny.
and so awesome.
I remember at this other party, like I for some reason they kept thinking I was a publicist, like the people running the party, and then Jonathan came over and goes, "Girl," and all of a sudden everybody was like, "Oh, go right in,"
Oh, God.
And he took me on his little they're on one of those golf carts, and I was with Tan and Jonathan Jonathan and I forget who else.
think
it
Bobby.
was Bobby. I think it was Bobby. And I was like, this is gonna be my most Instagram photo I've ever taken. Yeah. But then Jonathan at that Emmy party, I mean, they were just like the kings of the party.
Yeah, they were
100%.
They're
royalty.
for sure.
He's such a special creature. I don't know. And I just couldn't, like, it's so funny because, like, he's got one of those hairdresser memories. So he'll remember everything about you. He was remembering that I had to shave the side of my head for a glow in a couple weeks. He's like, I'm just already mourning her being shaved.
I mean, his brain is unreal to me. I started listening to his podcast a little bit, and it's him authentically himself, but he's so smart, and he just will, within one sentence, create some new piece of like pop culture jargon, and then also give you exactly how the world works and how it should work, and you're just like, I can't even keep up with all the things you're saying. But no, he's I would lose my mind if I saw him in person.
And he gave her like a catwalk lesson or like a walking lesson. He's like, I hate when I'm wearing heels and I walk like railroad tracks. And so he showed us what railroad tracks look like, and then he showed us how you're supposed to walk in one line, and then he like had Kimmy do it, and it was like, oh, you're totally right. Like now I never thought of it that way, and I mean I never had to walk a catwalk.
What is it? Tight rope walk.
Oh yeah, on a tightrope rather than railroad tracks.
So you got a free Jonathan Van Ness tutorial on walking in heels.
We haven't gotten the invoice yet, so we'll see how much.
I know. I was like, that's priceless. Oh my god. Okay, we're gonna take another quick break, and when we get back, we have a bunch of internet questions for you guys that I hope that you will do us the favor.
World Wide Web.
The World Wide Web. We'll be right back with more Not Too Deep.
Not too deep.
If I seem a little out of it, that's because I didn't start my day right. Because for many of us, the day doesn't really start until we get that morning energy boost.
Are you talking about coffee?
You know I'm talking about coffee. And now there's a new way to enjoy your daily cup of joe thanks to Cafe Monster.
Ooh, listen to this. It's available in vanilla, mocha, and salted caramel. Cafe Monster is shaking up the ready-to-drink coffee category with indulgent gourmet coffee that's only 190 calories.
Not to mention, with 150 milligrams of caffeine from coffee beans, B vitamins, and coffee fruit extract, Cafe Monster offers a simplified energy blend that contains a third less sugar than the leading national brand.
And in fact, it's 100 fewer calories per bottle than the competition, but you'd never know it by tasting it.
Instead, you get all the same feel and flavor as your local coffee house, and you don't even have to wait in line.
You don't have to be around people.
That's right. In fact, I think I'm going to have a mocha one right now and try to wake up.
Yeah, they're honestly dangerously delicious. The mocha tastes like chocolate milk. It's really, really a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, you guys should really try it. It is delicious, and it gives you energy to really start your day. Cafe Monster. Chill it down, shake it up, enjoy.
Not too deep.
This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by Burst Oral Care. The Burst Sonic Toothbrush is the best oral care you'll ever buy.
The Burst Sonic Toothbrush has a built-in 2-minute timer that is designed to make teeth whiter and brighter in just days.
And it's best known for its charcoal-infused, super soft bristles.
The charcoal removes surface stains and is antimicrobial, which helps keep the bristles hygienic for the lifetime of the brush head.
And it's proven to remove plaque and stains without damaging enamel of your gums. Burst has the most powerful motor on the market and the longest battery life with up to 4 weeks use on just 1 hour's charge. And they sent me one of their toothbrushes. I love it. It's a little like crazy matte black thing with black bristles. And then when I realized that they were charcoal infused, I'm a scum that eats trash, and this is really up my game.
So go to burstoralcare.com to get your Burst Sonic Toothbrush today. And with the Burst subscription program, you'll get a new replacement head every 3 months for just $6 each.
And if you use my code GRACE, G-R-A-C-E, at checkout, you'll also get 10% off your order. That's burstoralcare.com with code GRACE for 10% off.
Don't miss out on the special offer. It's a great gift idea too, so go to burstoralcare.com and don't forget the code GRACE.
Okay, we're going to get into some internet questions now, but before we do, I'm going to ask you the 2 questions I ask every guest that is on the podcast. And the first is, who, alive or dead, would you most want to throw cold spaghetti at? Yeah.
Cold spaghetti.
Great question.
I mean, Donald Trump. I mean, obviously, come on.
Yeah.
Anyone in the administration. Although my first thought was like Sarah Palin, because I was like, you started this.
Yeah. No, that
Like
is
she started it's like the dumb politician, the beginning.
the
Like,
TV personality.
I'm not even
almost.
giving George Bush that credit because that person who's like, oh my God, this is a reality show, not
Yeah.
So
We haven't had a Sarah Palin answer yet. I don't think. No.
All right,
So that's
so Palin, spaghetti coming at you.
I don't know who it was, but like whatever senators or whatever turned down like paid family leave or paid sick leave, like they can just get spaghetti all up in their shit.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Like,
and hopefully it's cold enough that they catch some sort of cold, bacterial infection, etc.
Yeah.
they can't,
And that they
and
can't
then
go
have
to the
stay
doctor.
home, and then they're like, "Who's going to take care of me?" And they're like,
Yep.
"Oh, we should have passed that law.
Yeah.
That people could take care of me when I was sick.
Yeah.
and then I
Yeah.
could still
Then
get
they put all
paid."
the medical bills on their credit cards, and then they have to go bankrupt, but it's still not forgiven.
Yeah.
See, cold spaghetti makes change. I'm just saying. Okay, the other question is to tell us your worst pants shitting story or like a close call, but you can only use 3 words or 3 small phrases. So, like, for example, mine is college jogging front lawn.
All right. I guess mine would be Williamsburg. North 8th Street.
Get real locationally specific.
Front door.
Okay, no follow-up questions.
Okay. Athleisure. Flu.
Oh,
Paid sick leave, guys.
West 49th Street.
oh, there we go. 2 fun New York memories. How fun. Okay, well, now let's get into
Because
these.
there's no bathrooms anywhere.
Yeah,
and they
that's like-
shun you. They're like, only for customers. You're like, I'm going to shit my pants.
They're like, as long as you do it out of the store.
I always in New York wished, and there has to be now, I think we've talked about it before, that there was an app for your phone that told you where public restrooms were all throughout the city. Because
Totally.
you had to make a mental map in your brain. I started realizing that hotels are great. If you just walk in like you have a room there and you can use the lobby
Libraries,
bathroom.
too.
Oh, that's a good one.
I figured that out when I was babysitting. I was like nannying, and it would be in New York. So you'd have suddenly the kid has to go to the bathroom, and you're like, oh crap,
Yeah.
literally.
Okay, let's get into these internet questions. Someone wants to know, is Betty Gilpin real or just a figment of our collective imaginations?
Betty Gilpin is real.
Oh,
She's a
wow.
real person. She's an incredible human being. She basically like spits poetry. Like, I don't know, she's from another like dimension and she knows more. Like she came back to us and was like, I have the knowledge
The
now.
wisdom, but I'm going to say it in a really funny, dark way.
Yeah, I know. I look like a Barbie, but my brain is like that of like some like Black Plague poet from, you know, it's like she's really something else. And
That's
obviously like I had never been made aware of her until Glow. And
No, same. Yeah. I looked up, she has like an extensive, acting resume, which is nuts,
Yeah.
but she's incredible. Her
I
face
spent-
is so fascinating to watch. To me.
The funny thing to me is that she said one day to me, she's like, well, you and I were both clowns. And it's like so funny to me that I look at her and I see what I think of as like a perfect physical human, right?
Yeah.
Like the embodiment of beauty, like, and just like
Grace,
I just look at her and I'm
kindness.
like, and I just think it's hilarious. And oh, you and me are like clowns with our faces. Yeah. And I'm like, don't even put my face and your face in the same sentence. But she's awesome. And her beauty is just like an extra.
Oh, yeah. She's one of those.
She's
She's
amazing.
constantly inspiring people.
doesn't really do social media all that much.
Because she
you know?
doesn't need
Twitter.
it. She probably
No.
doesn't
Yeah.
even need it. She's just fulfilled in her life. God bless. Oh, what's that like?
And she married a guy who I did a play with in New York.
Oh, really?
With Ken Trush.
Really?
Yes. He was my manager at the time.
Okay.
And he put together this thing about like like we played kids at a Scooby-Doo-esque kind of thing.
Okay.
And he played one of the dudes and I played like one of the high school girls or whatever. His name is Cosmo. And she's like, my husband Cosmo. I was like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm sure it's not the same Cosmo. But I'm like, how many Cosmos are there?
Yeah.
Same Cosmo.
It wasn't Cosmo Kramer.
No.
Cosmo in real life.
I mean, that's interesting. I mean, there's always so many Venn diagrams happening in like entertainment. That's so cool that now it's all come together. Someone also wants to know, if you had to choose, would you rather wear glow levels of hairspray all year round or glow levels of glitter?
I mean, glitter, of course. Glitter
I'll
for
go
me.
hairspray all the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 100%.
How?
This is our huge split. We talk about this all
Yeah.
the time.
Like,
Gotta
why are you
divide
trying
the
to?
team.
Yeah.
What's your end of day routine when you have to get out of the full hair and makeup?
Girl.
Like, how long
Good
does it actually
Lord.
take you?
Like,
it takes a while.
it takes like what I do is the 25-minute quick treatment, and then just go home, and there's just shit all over my pillow.
Yeah.
You let sleep take it off in the night.
Yeah, I feel like it's like, many cotton balls, an eye makeup remover, and over and over and over and over, and then like a hot towel, and then you still have to do more and more.
There's
and
like
more.
stripping there's like glue that's holding the glitter plus the black mascara and the black eyeliner, and then when we're nuking ozone,
It's even
Oh,
more.
boy.
Yeah, no,
Even
that's
more.
the one that seems like so intense.
Yeah, and it's so funny because one day I was like, "Oh, what is this eye makeup remover? This is amazing." It was at work, and my makeup artist was like, "Yeah, it's amazing because it's Chanel," and I'm like, "Oh, of course,
Yeah.
of course, that's the one that I like best."
The financially irresponsible one.
so then she just started bathing in it, and
Someone to know your favorite wrestler. Do you keep up at all, or do you feel like a need to keep up now that you're a part of this franchise?
I keep up
I do
because I
not.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
And so I really like, I like Taya Valkyrie, who is on Lucha Underground and
cool.
Impact Wrestling. And her husband, Johnny Mundo, was actually Salty the Sack Johnson on the first episode of Glow. So he was like our
Oh.
trainer. And so
he actually broke the ring.
he did
Off
physically
camera.
break the ring off camera.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
running back and
Thank
forth.
God it was him and not us.
Yeah. Wait, like a rope snapped or something?
No, like the whole,
whole
like,
Two
what
of
is it
the
called?
little like
The-
studs or
Yeah,
like
the posts.
pegs.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
posts that
Completely
they
cracked,
snapped.
and
Oh
he
my
didn't
God.
fall. He was running back and forth, running the ropes, snap, and he like caught himself
Oh,
because he's 6'4" muscle.
One muscle, giant muscle.
Jesus.
But his
He
wife
blinks
is
and it's like,
insane.
It's like doing 100 sit-ups. Yeah.
And we love like Naomi. We met Naomi from
she's
WWE.
so
She's
awesome.
awesome.
All
Lana.
those like gals are amazing.
Yeah.
They're so fun.
Natalia.
and kind, and
Yeah.
they're funny and like
Charlotte Flair.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, I love Charlotte
They're
Flair
like
so
game
much.
for anything. It's
Yeah.
so cool.
They are so every time I go to a WWE, I come back, I'm like, this is my new job now. This is my retirement job. I'm going to get in shape and I'm going to learn how to flip and do this, because Charlotte Flair is just like a specimen of like a Pegasus that walks amongst us, that I just think she's so great. And she's honestly just like very athletically great at wrestling, not
Yeah.
just like the acting side of it, just like the physicality. I love it. Are there any like cameos coming up in season 3 that you know about yet? I know you haven't started filming yet.
As far as we know, we're cameoing
Yeah.
in.
We got a great camera. No, we know that. I mean, obviously the bus is going to Vegas, so there's going
Yeah.
to be something to do with Vegas, and they're even like teasing on it on social media. Like the production designer's been like showing his inspiration, and all the writers have been like taking
cool.
pictures in Vegas and stuff.
Are you
Like,
shooting in Vegas?
We don't know.
You don't know
we
yet,
might
okay.
be for
Not
a
the whole
small
time.
amount
Okay.
of time.
I
Yeah.
think all the exteriors or something, but
Gotcha.
obviously, like we are experts in Vegas.
Yeah, I was
and
gonna say, I was like, that feels like you guys will right up your alley.
yeah.
manifested it or something. It's so
Yeah,
weird.
that's
Because
so
like we see
fun.
Sarah, when we go.
Yeah, just the
And-
Apple sisters have a cameo in one
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
episodes.
yeah,
It'd be
yeah.
fantastic. Someone wants to know, like you heard before, what's it like acting on being on set with Mark Maron?
It's funny because
He's amazing.
Yeah,
Very
he's
good-
awesome. He's
good
such a
dude.
good actor, and so it's been like in this show specifically, it's like the scripts feel like they were written for him before he was
Yeah.
even cast. But I think it's funny to see him get overwhelmed by 15 women.
Yeah. He was just like, God, I've never seen so many bra and butt adjustments in my life.
Yeah, because literally we're all wearing spandex and like too small. My sports bras are always too small because they're straight up from the 80s. I'm like, they're like children's bikini tops.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The wardrobe's insane. It's very cool. But also, I watched some of the outfits and I'm like, this I couldn't do. I think I'd have to like be like, I have to quit now. I can't do it.
Oh, you do it.
There are so many conversations about bikini lines that are out in the open. I mean, it's just like, do you laser? Do you wax? Do you shave? It's just like, I don't want to ever talk about this shit ever again. Like,
well, and also
this?
if it's the one, like if you're between waxes or whatever, and then you come in and it's this like high waist situation.
You never know.
You're like,
give you a heads up. They're like, hey girl.
Oh God.
Might want to clean up down there, shave your mustache.
I'm lucky I have tendonitis in my knees, so I have to tape them. So that means I always have to have spandex.
She's so lucky she has
70s bush.
tendonitis.
80s clothes and 70s bush.
But yeah, so Mark has to
Something
deal with
for
a lot
everyone.
of that. But he is also, he tends to, his character Sam tends to monologue a lot. So he has to like be off by himself being like, I have like 2 pages of dialogue or whatever to memorize.
Yeah, that must be intense.
It was so fun though. The first season, like I would just be like, what was it like to meet Obama? What is it like to like every podcast guest that like I had listened to his podcast for a long time years ago, saw him in a grocery store and was like, that's Mark Maron. And then now I'm like in a show with him. So now I'm just like, hey, what's this like? Who's your favorite guest?
Like, I mean, yeah, between that and also like I used to watch Short Attention Span Theater, if you remember that, and from Comedy Central, and he was the host of that, and I think he hosted Stand Up at some point. Like I like have been like with his career for a long time and used to watch him at Luna Lounge downtown.
And he'll be like, oh, really?
Yeah.
I remember I worked for this
I remember
website,
that.
My Damn Channel, and they sent me and my friend Michelle to go interview him and Sam Cedar. They were doing a show called Break Room Live.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just
Is that
like
Air America? No, it's something different.
they were just like in a random like office space. They weren't even like part of the rest of the business that was occupying this office space. And they would just go live on their lunch break in the break room of this office space and just like talk about whatever. And so our boss wanted us to go like film them just doing their thing. And this is before he was talking about starting a podcast at that point. And he was so bitter about the entertainment industry and he was so fed up and he was so in his head about like eating and losing weight and all this stuff. And like I remember leaving because I think I was like 22 or something and being like, that's the most neurotic man I've ever experienced in my life. And then 2 years later, he's the biggest podcaster in the universe. And I was like, this is nuts. The entertainment industry is crazy, but I think he's great. It seems like the part is written just for him.
It was perfect for him. And like,
It was insane because all of us had been together training for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And he was the one dude that we didn't meet. So we were like,
Oh, really?
yeah, we were like, I mean, we all like each other. Like, I hope he's not like
He's
weird.
not going to change the
Yeah,
dynamic of
because
everything.
even Bashir, who plays Keith Bang, like he plays a ref, so he came into the training a little bit too to learn how to. So we kind of like met everybody, and then it was
That's like new kid
what's he
comes to
gonna be like?
camp.
What is
So
he
when
gonna
he had his first speech, we were all like, all right, he can stay.
do? We're not going to fire him.
Someone wants to know, do you prefer improvised sketches or written sketches?
Oh, well, improvise. Well, let's should we
Let's
define?
break it down.
Yeah, let's define the. So a sketch in general is typically written, and you can also have improvised elements to a sketch. For instance, the Apple Sisters, I would put squarely in that category.
Sure.
We're heavily scripted, but we go off script to fuck around.
Yeah, and then we come back.
And then improv. The great thing about improv is that you have to do no fucking prep. You don't have to worry about anything. You just show up in whatever clothes you're in, and then you can just like ride a magical unicorn and don't have to pay like $500,000 for it. To that. The great thing about sketch is that you can craft your performance. You know that, and you can also like rate. Like you can fix jokes and improve things. So I don't know.
I mean, I started in improv and thought it was magical, and I feel like some of the most magical moments I've had on stage are those like, even in Apple Sister shows, are those moments where like something went wrong and we improvised.
Yeah.
So I think in general, like improv was always that thing where I was like, oh man, if you could just figure out a way to make money doing this, like long form improv, like that would be awesome. And so, yeah, I think over the course of my life, I definitely have done so much more improv and found like amazing like moments from it.
But it sounds like you're kind of getting the best of both worlds in Glow right now. Like you get to what it sounds like go off script and like fuck around with each other and make your characters have that like very unique dynamic.
And we never have to do a Herald opening.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Group game. Categories.
Oh God. Yeah, so it sounds like you guys leveled up. Like, that sounds really great. Okay, so I want to know if you could bring back a favorite TV show for another season, which would it be?
I know what Rebekka's would be. Do you want to?
No,
Can
you
I
say
just
it.
say?
Yeah.
I think it would be the Golden Girls for Rebekka.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I mean, a post house dead. How do you say
It
that
would be
word?
Betty White only at this point, but I would love to see Golden Girls come back.
Yeah, I love
would
that
be
show so much.
fun. I would love to see the season after they all like retired.
We're gonna write it.
Retired.
Yeah, I mean, I've been waiting for it forever. Like,
Yeah,
what's the
I
slightly
wrote a
younger
fan
version?
fiction. I wrote a Golden Girls fan
Did you
fiction.
really?
Yeah. I wrote myself on the lanai, for real.
That's incredible.
Kimmy just poked herself in the eye. Like, what would be yours?
That's a great question. I mean, I really was sad when Parks and Rec went off the air,
Oh,
and I would have
yeah.
loved to have seen another season just so I could maybe be on it.
Oh, well, that's what I was going to say. What's a franchise that if it came back that you would want to put yourself into? Or a movie, whatever it might be.
I would want to be Carla from Cheers.
Okay.
And I would want to be Debbie Reynolds and Singing in the Rain.
There you go. That sounds great. Okay, last question before we start to wrap up. Someone wants to know if you could pick anyone in the world to reenact the lift from Dirty Dancing with, who would you choose? And would you be the lifter or the liftee?
Oh. Wait, you said, repeat the first part of the question?
If you could choose anyone in the world
in the world, okay.
to reenact the lift, yeah.
I know.
Okay.
Val from Dancing with the Stars. And it would be me being on Dancing with the Stars, and Val would be my partner. And we would do the whole number from Dirty Dancing, and I would be Baby, and Val would be the other, that guy, the guy. And nothing matters except that I want to win. I really want to just get the trophy. So vote for me, number 2.
All right.
I'll just, I would just like to take me and the Obama family just if they could just lift me up. They just Dirty Dancing lifting the whole family, everybody, Michelle,
dogs.
Barack, the dogs, everybody, Secret Service included. I don't care.
Anyone
Lift
like
me
Sasha
up.
Emily is dating, they can be there too.
They can be there too.
Yeah.
It's all good. It would be kind of mosh pity, but they would get me up there. I would absorb,
Eat vegetables afterwards.
Yeah.
That
feel
suits.
fit. I'd be so happy.
Oh, that would be, that's what the world needs right now. It's a Dirty Dancing lift from the Obamas.
It's lofty, Kimmy.
I
I
love
just
that.
really like to meet all of them at once while being lifted.
From that angle.
And I accept a contract to Dancing with the Stars.
Well, thank you guys so much for being here. This has been
Thank
super
you.
fun. We want to give you the gift that we give everyone for making time for us. It's just a fortune cookie for each of you.
Fantastic.
I think it's the same message in both
Do
of
we
them.
eat the whole thing?
You
or
don't
do
have to
Okay,
because
great.
they've been steamed open, so they're not.
I like that you
Actually, we
already
don't do
told
that
us
anymore.
what the message is.
We found a clever new way.
We found a new way.
Did I break them and wasn't supposed to?
Oh, wait, this is a long
sorry.
message.
Oh, same thing? All
Same
we have?
thing.
Okay.
Okay. The last person who pissed you guys off hasn't had a proper shit in months, so please take solace in that.
Thank you.
Sorry we
moms.
broke your cookies and
No. You're
I
supposed
did.
to.
Okay.
It's all good. Okay, so where can people find what you guys are working on now, or can they see what's upcoming for you guys if they don't know already?
Sure. You can follow me at Kimmy Gatewood on all platforms on social media. I have a short film called Control that is out currently. I think it's playing October 14th and 15th in Bushwick, Telluride, and
You just
somewhere
won
else.
an award for this, right?
Yes, we've won 9 awards and 34 festivals now.
That's insane.
We won Best Film at Walla Walla, Phoenix, and
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee
I'm
was
not
the
in
most
this.
recent.
I just know.
No, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'll have I'm directing a series called Timeline, which Rebekka has a cameo as the Miss Gallagher, the history teacher. It comes out April 2019.
Which I used a lot of my experience writing that fake encyclopedia about the 1940s to play the history teacher in her thing.
Well, truth be told, she did an impression of her dad in this. And
He's
it
a
was so
teacher.
funny because the best line was about pulling teeth.
Oh yeah, I was like, I feel like I'm a dentist because getting answers from you kids is like pulling teeth, which my dad actually said when he was my teacher in high school.
Really?
It's just
what a gift.
So
Shout out,
special.
Dad.
Yeah, it was real funny.
You can find me on social media at Hello Rebekka, and my name is spelled Rebekka. There's no H, only 2 Ks.
She
So
hasn't,
exhausting.
she hasn't had to explain this her entire life.
But yeah, you could find out about my short film, Consent, which I made with Kimmy, and the Apple Sisters, and Glow.
Oh
And,
yeah, we
you
have an
know,
Apple Sister show next week at Scoops Fest.
Cool.
Yeah. So we're, just doing comedy, drinking in between.
Hey.
That's my life.
I subscribe to that religion. Thank you guys so much for being here. Please check them out if you haven't already, and get ready for Glow Season 3. It's so exciting. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Please.
We will.
Thank you.
Physically,
Thank you.
emotionally,
Thank you.
all of it. We'll see you guys next time on another episode of Not Too Deep. Goodbye.
Too deep, too deep, too deep. Not too deep with Grace Helbig.
This episode was brought to you by Cafe Monster. They are shaking up the ready-to-drink coffee category with indulgent gourmet coffee that's only 190 calories, available in vanilla, mocha, and salted caramel, with 150 milligrams of caffeine from coffee beans, B vitamins, and coffee fruit extract in every bottle. Cafe Monster offers a simplified energy blend that contains a third less sugar than the leading national brand, but you still get all the feel and flavor of your local coffee house without having to go there in person. And they sent us some example flavors, and they, god dang, are so good. Chocolate milk, it's just like a sugar rush without all the guilt. So Cafe Monster, chill it down, shake it up, enjoy. Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated, producer and directed by Jack Ferry.
Producer and editor, Melissa D. Mons.
Writing by Diane Kang. Post-production sound by Chris Henry.
And an extra special thanks to Flula for the theme music.